Hi everyone, this is Stan, your favorite Polish Taiwan YouTuber. Hope you're all having a great day. Welcome to today's show. Today let's talk about China's most utopian campaign called Skynet, which aims to hunt down the Chinese people abroad. Many of my Taiwanese viewers might still remember multiple Cambodia scams, when people were lured there and then forced into slavery. At that time, in Taiwan, some of the people even started praising China for the so-called persuade to return campaigns, which basically means circumventing formal extradition processes by harassing suspects to return to China. At that time, many of the Taiwanese media people and some of the YouTubers started saying how good China's draconian laws are and how successful any of the CCP's actions are due to harsh measures that often ignore human rights and basic human dignity. At the same time, those people have been blaming Taiwan for being too soft at law enforcement. Honestly, the so-called persuade to return campaigns are nothing more than harassment of, in many cases, innocent people, and an attempt to enforce Chinese laws on foreign soil. Talking about fraud schemes, many of the Chinese fraudsters are still living abroad and are still involved in human trafficking. The CCP doesn't really go after them, but who they do harass in reality are opposition members and political activists. Just imagine you manage to escape China, but the CCP's secret police will follow you even abroad. This kind of harassment campaign is called 110 overseas. 110 is the police phone number in China. Let's take a look how it works. There has been some information in the media regarding the persuade to return campaigns, how the CCP's government made their targets return back to China. Persuade to return is actually an integral part of China's Operation Foxhunt. So what does it mean? To put it simply, it's going after the family members of the CCP's target who are still in China, and then harassing and threatening them, so that they will try to persuade the target to go back to China on his or her own will. Or if the target's children are still in China, they will be prohibited from receiving education in public schools, their relatives will be prohibited from joining the CCP or joining the military. Not only that, they will also be prohibited from occupying any public positions, working with state enterprises, or even taking public exams. So you can see how clearly that persuasion to return violates all the basic human rights. And the most ridiculous thing is that the inhumane behavior like that is being praised by some of the Taiwanese China supporters. They probably don't even realize how the democratic countries view human rights violations like these. And in fact, when the CCP wants to hunt down a fleeing dissident or political prisoner, they first convict him or her of crimes such as inciting rebellion or violating the national security law. But these CCP sympathizers and supporters, they will always praise the use of harsh punishments as means to catch fraudsters, and will always find an excuse to say that the CCP did everything right and that the whole world should be under their jurisdiction. At the same time, you'll never hear a single bad word about the terrible human rights situation in China from them. I just mentioned that persuading people to return is a key part of the Operation Foxhunt. Some people may have heard of it before. The operation started in 2014. It is a special project carried out by the Ministry of Public Security of China to hunt down opposition members overseas, including people from Hong Kong and Macau. Operation Foxhunt is also a part of Skynet. I'm not kidding, it is really called Skynet, a clandestine operation of the Chinese Ministry of Public Security to apprehend overseas Chinese it sees as fugitives, guilty of financial crimes in mainland China. Skynet includes various measures to track down the people, including the face recognition system everyone is familiar with. With Chinese-made CCTV equipment, the CCP officials can easily track their targets anywhere around the world. In addition to targeting overseas Chinese, Skynet also targets foreign citizens who the CCP is interested in gathering intelligence on or hunting down. At the same time, because the number of Chinese people is large in many countries, it is very easy for them to use some local Chinese community members to set up overseas 110. 110 is the police reporting hotline in China. That is the overseas Chinese police stations that have been established across dozens of countries on every continent. On January 22nd, 2022, Liu Rongyuan, director of the Fuzhou Police and overseas Chinese police offices, announced that the Fuzhou Police have opened their 30th service station abroad. The last time I made a video on those police stations in the UK with a friend of mine, Lewis, those police stations were part of Skynet. That is to say, the CCP not only has its influence in almost all the Western countries, there are the CCP secret police stations everywhere already. So, have you noticed that the CCP not only does not respect mutual legal agreements, extradition treaties, and, international laws it has signed with others, but it also directly goes to other countries to impose the Chinese laws against the people living abroad. This is another form of CCP's expansion abroad. It is a shame that countries don't dare to directly stand up against this behavior. In reality, this kind of behavior is the same as if the KGB established their offices all around the globe. It is a terrible thing, as the CCP is acting even more brutal than the Soviets. And the Soviets didn't have the same surveillance technology. In addition to the persuasion to return mentioned above, there also are cases of direct kidnapping, such as the kidnapping of Swedish citizen Gui Minhai in Thailand. Moreover, due to China's poor record on human rights and their completely non-transparent judicial system, it is almost impossible for them to extradite anyone through legal means, for example, based on agreements or international law. In fact, in the past few years, countries such as the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom and Australia have begun to notice the problem of the CCP's global pursuit of dissidents and things like overseas Chinese secret police, although I think the way they deal with it is far from efficient. On October 28, year 2020, the US Department of Justice and the FBI announced that the 8 people who participated in the Operation Foxhunt in the United States have been charged with conspiring to act as illegal agents of the PRC. The US believes that these people are agents of the People's Republic of China. Their goal was to harass and threaten political dissidents and fugitives in the United States, including hiring US private investigators to locate, track, investigate and threaten them and their families, and demand that they go back to China for trial instead of seeking legal help in the US. On November 10th, year 2020, the Canadian Security Intelligence Service, CSIS, reminded the Chinese Canadians that China's Operation Foxhunt was targeting Chinese Canadians as part of global intimidation operation. The Canadian Security Intelligence Service says the Beijing government has used covert national security officials and trusted proxies as a common tactic to target members of the Canadian Chinese community and silence those who criticized Xini the Flu. And those methods included threats to their families. It is a threat to Canada's sovereignty and the safety of Canadian citizens. You see that the number of CCP's overseas secret police stations is still increasing. You can find the related reports in the media, but most people living in the West are indifferent to the existence of the Chinese police. So, in this regard, I still want to appeal to the governments of various countries, not only to dismantle this kind of secret organizations, but also to provide a more active protection for those people who are still looking for help. We shouldn't let those organs that harass and follow the Chinese people around the globe to exist. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please press like, subscribe and share. This is Stan. I see you in the next one. Bye bye.